Hello and welcome to Turtle Tracks Podcast. This is your host, Brian Van Hooker, and I'm here with Kyle Wlodyga, the Associate Art Director at Super7, who's overseen pretty much all the Turtle releases you guys have done. Thank you so much for being here, Kyle. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Anytime. I'm excited to talk to you. Our mutual friend connected us, and so we had a lot to talk about. And we've been on this call for 5 minutes. We've already covered a lot of stuff that I feel like we could have recorded, but
You
that's
probably could
that's
have, yeah.
okay. It just we hit the ground running. So
We'll
it
just do
was
it
it
all
was
over
a
again. That's fine.
shout out to our mutual friend for knowing that there would be chemistry here.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Um, so I guess, I mean, to get started, can you just give the history of, well, before that, give us
Sure.
your background of Turtles. Were you a fan as a kid? What's
Yeah.
your background with the franchise itself?
So I mean, it was everywhere. I mean, I was born in 1990, so I'm like it's like right behind kind of like the debut of the show or whatever. The first time I remember like experiencing the Turtles or whatever is there was a live stage show at Walt Disney World in 1993 or 4 or something like that, and I went to that. And it sounds
Oh,
kind of
nice.
wild now, right? Like turtles are in Disney World, but they were. And it was like full costumes, and like there was an April there, and they like sang and everything. I got all of their signatures, and Michelangelo signed my little like autograph book and stuff. And I remember being very excited about that. And I was a Mikey dude as a kid, as I think most people are, because Mikey's the younger brother. He's the fun one. Everyone wants to party. Um, but then I still liked them. The toys weren't as prolific back then, at least for me. I was
Okay,
like, because we had like Power Rangers. That was like the thing I was really into
sure.
as a kid. But then little show uh debuts I think it's Fox Kids or wherever in 2003 called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I was 13 years old, and it was like, what is this? Like, I always thought, everything was like goofy and dumb and, you know, turtle fart jokes or whatever, as a kid. And then like you watch this '03 show and it's like, oh no, it's very serious. Like this shredder kills people,
Yeah.
and like, these are real swords, and like, Leo goes crazy and like almost kills Master Splinter. And you're like, oh man, it was like very serious storytelling with the turtles. And I was 13, so I was like, a lot of Nine Inch Nails in my rotation, and just a lot of like mood teen brooding or whatever. So it was like, yeah, man, like 2003, like those are my turtles. And I watched that show pretty much till the end. I wish I had it here with me. I could send it to you after, but in high school I used to draw a lot. And I have a marker drawing I did of the turtles, and I was like, yeah, I'll draw my turtles, and it ended up just looking exactly like 2003. I thought I was being like so clever, or I was like, yeah, and I'm gonna do this, and like this guy, they're all gonna be slightly different greens, and but I just drew 2003, and I didn't even like think about it. It was just like burned into me. So yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan. I watched the like 2007 movie when it came out in theaters,
Sure.
all that stuff. And then, the Turtles are so like almost core to pop culture, like in general, since the 80s. It's kind of hard to not be aware of them, you
Yeah.
know? And so, 2003 was really my main thing. Kind of kept them on the periphery with all the Michael Bay stuff or whatever. Like, not that that was bad. Like, there's charm to all of those, but it just wasn't my main thing. And then I get this job at Super 7, and they're like, oh, we're gonna do the Turtles. I was like, oh, cool. Like, which ones? They're like, oh, we're gonna do the like Playmates toys. And I was like, oh, I think my cousins had some of those. I think I got some like hand-me-down ones as a kid. But working at Super 7, they're all huge toy nerds, toy history buffs, all that stuff. And they're like, oh no, like here's like the full history of the whole. And so like it was this crazy, amazing learning experience to like go back, see some of those guys. I talked to some of the Varner people at like conventions and all that stuff, and just like really learned about what was happening there, all that history, all the design, the innovation, just like those guys were having so much fun doing those toys back then.
Sure.
It's like I don't know if they've had that much fun ever since anybody
Get a lot of
has,
freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, total freedom
Yeah.
because it was just like, yeah, like cool, do whatever. Like if it sells, like we don't care. So, yeah, and so I've been doing the Turtles line since it started at Super 7 back in 2019. I was in China looking at the test shots, looking at the prototypes, like on the factory line, all that stuff from the very beginning. So, yeah, I've been with the Super 7 line since its inception.
Talking about when it was first conceived, like,
Hmm.
what was the charge? Was it like what was the like you said the Playmates line? So what was the
Hmm.
goal to bring to that to do with that?
Well, I think we saw a lot of success with what we did with or because we picked up Masters of the Universe Classics after Mattel did. And we saw a lot of success of like taking those old He-Man toys and, essentially giving them a remaster. So I got remaster on the brain because the Oblivion remaster just dropped today. But like making them modern, giving them giving you that figure you had again, but making them what you thought you had back then.
Sure.
So, modern articulation, new paint, better sculpts, all that stuff. Because I mean, we have those He-Man toys. Like they're good. They have their own charm, but it's typically when you say charm, it's because this is like not great.
There's a
But it's
wonkiness to it. Yeah.
yeah, it's wonkiness to it because it's
Yeah.
like hand sculpt, whatever. But then you update it, and so we are like, okay, like a lot of people remember the cartoon and this and that, and there's so many entries. And NECA was really big into cartoon stuff at by that time already. And
Yes.
so we were trying to find, what's our slice of the turtle pie, and it was and our fearless leader Brian Flynn was like, people remember the cartoon, but people's real connection is to the toys that they had. That's where the like there are more stories told with the toys that people remember than, in the show. And so that was our entry point. That was our launch pad and was going into the toys. And so we started with what was wave one? Raph, Splinter, Foot Soldier, and Baxter Stockman. So uh,
That
those were the
Baxter, I
first
have the
four.
glow in the dark one. That
Yeah,
Baxter,
the blue
nuts. I
one,
love that one.
Bug Zapper Blue. That's what
Yeah.
I called it.
Any highlights you wanted to talk about from that first wave? Like, why start with Raph? Why not all four turtles from the beginning?
So I think the idea there was to just kind of give confidence to the buyer that yes, we're gonna be here for four waves at least. You're gonna get all four, but like there's no
Sure.
way you do a Turtles line and you don't do all four.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was more of like a silent like handshake with the customer of like we're here for four waves. Like strap in, trust us, we'll get us there.
Mhm.
And I'm happy to say that we got through, 11 waves of Playmates inspired stuff, which is really, really cool. Because any toy line that makes it past like eight waves is kind of insane. Like
Sure.
it really doesn't happen, as I'm sure you're well aware.
Oh yeah, it gets reset. Everything goes
Yeah,
back. Yeah, you lose the
yeah,
rights. All that stuff. Yeah.
yep. Hmm.
Anything you wanted to shout out about that first wave that was a particular shout
Uh,
to you or like I don't know anything that stands out?
sure. I mean, what was the hardest part? I feel like the hardest part was just making sure that like the proportions felt right. Like it still felt like Playmates, but it was also still modern.
Sure.
Because like all the Playmates ones, like all their legs are bent, all their elbows are bent, or
Yeah.
weird poses, stuff like that. And so it was like, okay, like take those and kind of straighten them out a little bit. We had the pleasure and the benefit of working with Four Horsemen Studios on that
Sure.
line for probably like five or six waves, and they did an incredible job. And those guys are huge fans of that toy line as well, especially Eric Treadaway, who is one of their founding members and one of their best sculptors. And like he and I had good conversations about how to do this and how it's looking, tweaking it, and all that stuff. His the only thing what I will say is I didn't really work on uh Slash in the line
Okay.
because Eric is such a Slash fan that we told him we're like, okay, like wave what is it, five? It's like wave 6, like we're gonna do Slash. He was like, all right, cool, cool, cool. The neck, like within 2 days, he was like, here's Flash. And it's fully sculpted, all done. I was like, okay, yeah, he's thanks. I didn't do anything. Like he just did it. All the design choices, all of the articulation, everything about that Slash figure, which is probably one of the best figures of the line, is
It's great.
like,
I really don't. I don't have
it's
to. I
I
want
just
those.
I just approved it.
It's so great.
Eric just
It
did
really
most
is.
of it. Yeah,
One thing I liked that you guys did was, I mean, I love the Playmates line. I've got most of them. Um, the original Playmates toys.
yeah,
But I love those original Playmates toys. But every character, because it's a kid's toy and they all have to sell at the
yeah,
same price point, they're all the same size.
yeah,
But where I feel like you guys did a nice job of like either blowing things up
mm-hmm,
when you needed to. Like to me,
yeah,
I have the glow in the dark Muckman, and that thing is
mm-hmm,
enormous, and like you could
yeah.
throw it through a window. So like,
He's
I,
not even the biggest one in that line.
who is it? Is it the gorilla?
Yeah, the girl is the
Okay,
biggest one for
sure.
sure. And then second is Wingnut, which is another one of my favorite ones. So
Yes, yes. And so like, I mean, was that a choice? Like, was that just like you kind of? I guess my question is, how were those changes decided upon? Like, oh no, this guy needs to be bigger. Where did those things come from?
Four Horsemen made a lot of those decisions. So like
Hmm.
the Bebop and Rocksteady scaling, which I know some people have issues with,
Oh, why? Because they're too
they
big.
kind of did that. And they think they're a little too big.
I
That's
love those.
that's
I
okay.
always felt,
I like them bigger. I
yeah,
mean,
me
to me,
too.
it's you kind of want. I mean, in my head at least, you kind of want your villains to feel,
Especially like there's multiple
imposing.
forms. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So. And Four Horsemen just they do such a great job on just like bulky figures,
Mm.
just big muscle bound whatever. And so yeah, I think the Bebop and Rocksteady are some of the best figures in the line. Especially the Bebop is really really nice.
Those two are, yeah, they're both
Yeah.
really great.
But no, it was they kind of set the standard for we can push the villains a little bit bigger.
Sure.
Um, but then obviously like Shredder and Casey, like they have, they're like the turtles come to their like shoulder because they're supposed to be like 5-ish feet or so, and so we kind of scaled the humans based off of that. But we made Rat King like way taller because he's supposed to be like
He's a big dude in
six.
the
He's like
cartoon.
6'8" or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like we scaled him based on that, and there's like little reference points here and there of like, oh well, because while it is like a Playmates line, like it also is sort of like a every single turtle iteration all at once line as
Okay.
well. There's like we have all those influences because everybody's got their own kind of like, oh, well, it should look like this, it should look like that, but that's all a combination of all of these different, media that they've consumed or read or whatever or played. So it was just, it really comes down to just what we felt is right. And you try a couple things, you see how it looks, you output it, and it's just okay, this feels good. You usually when I don't know, it sounds dumb, but when you know.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that's good. Okay, we're good.
The so for like some characters, particularly the
Hmm.
humans, like Shredder,
Yeah.
not the foot soldiers aren't human, but you know what I mean. They're in these cool wacky poses, like these
Hmm.
hunched. Like, was it hard to kind of deconstruct them and figure out how tall they should be, or how?
That's kind of what we were talking about with the turtles
Yeah.
too, because like they're all bent or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
Shredder. So, but I think also using the turtles as the like, okay, they're all 5 feet
Sure.
ish, right? So do that, and then okay, adjust accordingly. So basically, you just put all the turtles are like at their shoulders, and then everybody else scales
Mm,
from that. So like April is half of the distance that Casey and the turtles have, and like that,
sure.
like that's how you get into that kind of human scaling type stuff. So because I mean it's a turtles line, so you use the turtles as
Makes sense. Yeah.
your compass basically.
The what about Wave 2? Like, I wanted to shout out
Sure.
Mutagen Man. I love that.
If we're
I've
going
been,
wave by wave, I'll do it. I'll take a full retrospective.
yeah, if you don't mind. I mean,
Yeah, doesn't
that
matter to
Mutagen
me.
Man is huge. Like, another huge one. Kind
Yeah.
of blew out the design from the original. It's so great.
Yeah, he's a big one. I liked him a lot as well. But again, Bebop is in that wave,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
still one of my favorites. So, I am not widely known, but I am known on the internet for not being the biggest Leo fan.
Okay.
So, we can skip over him. It's fine. But it's also like you figure it out with Raph, and then the others just kind of fall into place. It's
I mean, yeah,
facial
especially
expressions, a
yeah.
couple weapons, that kind of stuff.
I mean, you guys
So
made a point of like we're gonna do essentially the original head,
yeah.
uh,
Hmm.
and slightly cooler. Like I always, I mean, even as a kid, it bugged me that Leonardo had these little like sad.
Triangle eyes. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you guys changed that. Um,
Hmm.
but then it was like, I guess you just the other head was like, what else can we do with this?
Yeah, it was more the like the kind of the remaster head,
Sure,
a little bit more realistic looking, a little more stuff. And so, because everybody has those toys, and then you're playing with them in your imagination, they look better. And even how you remember playing with your toys as a kid from back then, they look better in your head than they do in your hand.
sure, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and that's kind of what the idea was with those heads and stuff. And so, we get to have a little fun, experiment, that kind of stuff with the facial expressions. So, like the Mikey one, and that is like he's like, "Hey, what's up?" Like he's
Yeah,
all excited, but then it's the classic side mouth on the toy head. Donnie, who is admittedly my favorite one,
same.
he's got his classic, mouth, but then for his expression, I wanted him very like stoic, like he's thinking.
Yeah,
Like you could take an open hand and put him there,
sure, yeah.
So
Moving to wave three.
yeah,
I know you said you like Bebop even more than the Rocksteady. One thing I like about that Rocksteady,
yeah,
the head is enormous
yeah.
in a way that reminded me of the Playmates sculpt, the original toy that we never got. I don't know if you know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about.
I vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, he's just this
They
giant head
really,
with
yeah.
headlight. Yeah.
And they
Mhm.
scale it down for the size. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that in there, but also to me, that I think that also has a little bit of like Henson in it too, where it's just like bigger. I always think
Interesting.
of it
Sure.
like animatronic-y or whatever. Like Trevor just debuted those like Henson inspired Bebop and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rocksteady, and I some people don't like them. I think they're amazing.
They're
I think
cool.
they're incredible. I think they're so good, especially because I know that Trevor is such like a Henson like nerd and fan, and like that like he thought about how all of that works. Like you have to fit a human head in there, you have to fit the animatronics in there, then you have to put the latex on top. Like he thought of all of that, but it's a toy that's like this
Not
big.
only that, he based them on specific things. Like
Yeah, I'm sure.
Rocksteady is based on BP Richfield, and Bebop was based on a trash pig from Flintstones. All Henson
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Like such smart. Like it's a
yeah.
crazy looking
He's
line.
brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Yeah.
Trevor's the best. So, Rose, we're talking about me, and I keep singing Trevor's praises. But that's okay. What's up, Trevor? I'm sure he watches. So,
Anything you want to say about April or
wave three. Oh yeah, April. She was fun, and she was kind of the first time I got to like really kind of go like not like go wild, but I like got to start experimenting a little bit because
okay.
like 4-H had like a designer that they would work with, and they would send it to us, and then I would make notes, and we would like collab on that stuff. But then like April has this like headset and head or whatever in that wave, and that was just like a oh, I think we should add a headset to her because she's out in the field or or flying the helicopter or whatever. And that was like the first like full on just Kyle like original thing in there. And so it started increasing each time
Okay.
like as it would go. Um so then like wave four, I got to do like the weapon rack for Casey with like the net and like all this other stuff and just little design things like that. But then like the first like real, I guess, design flourish we would call it is wave five, the Samurai Leonardo. I know I said I don't like Leonardo, but the mask head, I got to like design that whole thing. And I did like
That's cool too. Yeah.
I got to do like 12 iterations of what the mask would look like. Because the helmet's the same,
Sure.
but it's like a new head insert. And so I did like 12 of them. And my VP was like, "Oh, like some of these are like really good. A couple of these are like one too many things."
Mm.
And then like because it's you don't want to get into a world where you're like mixing turtles and samurai and I don't know, like eggs, or I don't know why I said eggs. Just like three things. You want to do turtles and samurai.
Got it.
What you want the message like clear. So like I think I had like turtles and samurai and Master Splinter because I gave him like a rat mask.
Oh, so one thing too many.
Yeah.
Cat in the Hat.
Or I did turtles and samurai and the undercover Dawn like face mask
Oh,
thing.
the Groucho looking thing.
Yeah, the little Groucho looking thing because some samurai armors had like mustaches and stuff like on them, and I was gonna like make it look like that.
Even the movie stuff, from
Yeah,
the third movie had like they had hair.
I know. I did that too. And it was like, no, it just needs to be turtles and samurai. So that's why it was like the standard. It became kind of the standard mouth but with the like big
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fangs. So yeah, there's probably a world where I'll send you a bunch of images and you can drop them in uh, as the podcast
Oh,
goes.
actually, I just do the. This is just audio. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
No, that's cool.
yeah. No, it's just easier. I don't. Yeah.
That's fine by me. Easy. Doesn't
Um.
matter to me.
Let's see. We went over wave four. I gotta praise Muckman here. He's just enormous. But
Yeah, he
and
was
Mondo
crazy.
got you really pushed Mondo's design, which I feel like you guys are really good at the. I mean, for lack of better, like the ugly mutants. You guys were like, damn, those were awesome.
I think a lot of people will say that when they look back at this line of humans and not so much, but the mutants is where it's all about, where it's like where
I
it's
mean,
all
that's the
at,
fun of the live
which
movie.
is it's that is the more fun part, anyways. To be
Yeah.
completely honest, so I'm fine with that summation. I think.
Let's see, wave five here. I mean, that Ray Fillet was also gigantic.
So
Uh,
Ray Fillet was
yeah,
was one of the figures I did get from a cousin, and so I had like that was like the one figure I had a nostalgic like tie-in with.
sure.
So yeah, I went nuts, and I have a carded Ray Fillet over here, right next to my other favorite mutant, which I never got to, which we'll talk about later.
Oh,
Um, so, but yeah, the Ray Fillet one is like probably one of my favorite ones. I think the paint, the sculpt, the articulation, the decisions that we like got to make on that like just lend itself to a very, very good figure. So
I mean, I
very
think because of it's people who grew up with those toys, they all kind of blend together as far as one aesthetic.
sure.
But Ray
Hmm.
Fillet's as a toy, like he really doesn't look like anything else in the line.
No.
Very clean, very heroic, very
Hmm.
bright colors. He's very different from most of the other mutants they did.
Yeah, that's true. Hmm.
His
Yeah,
aesthetic is
he
very
doesn't have the like little sculpt flourishes like like a trash can
yeah.
attached to his butt or something like that. But
And it's one of those like standout, like I don't know, I feel like it's one of the standouts from the line, maybe
yeah.
because it looked like nothing else in the line.
And there's also nothing really else that color either, that like bright blue that I can think other than like
Yeah.
worm maybe, but it's a different blue.
Yeah, that's a darker blue, yeah.
Yeah. So
Anything to say about Leatherhead? He must have been a tough one because Leatherhead is very strangely standing and proportioned.
he was weird, but there was a little bit of like engineering that had to go into that because yeah, like he is like mostly like horizontal. But we managed to figure out a way to adjust him so that if you wanted him classic Playmates horizontal, you could do it.
Okay,
But you also can, move the tail up, move the chest back, move the head down, and then he's like in the cartoon or Mirage like more vertical posture,
sure.
and it's all in one figure, which is really cool. So I was excited about that. I really I, one of the things, I don't know why, but one of the things I was like adamant was like we have to do, like his old toy just was like his gun was just like a little slug, right?
Okay.
I was like, we gotta add the like the little like slide whatever cocking mechanism to his gun, and they were like, that's expensive. I was like, I don't care, do it. So that, and then like, yeah, I got to do that was actually one of the main things. Like when I wasn't doing like the samurai heads or like flourishes or stuff like that, I got to do a lot of the like weapon rack stuff.
Cool.
Or if I didn't, I had like an idea and I would send it to the Four Horsemen designer. I was like, oh, let's make that's where like the fly fishing rod comes from. It's purely just so that he has kind of like a frame for his
Mm,
weapon rack
cool.
because he didn't have that.
Right. Yeah. A lot of
The
yeah, they
thing.
did that for the first wave, but then after a while, like
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean I appreciate that you guys kind of like reverse engineered for a bunch of those characters.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where like the anchor for Ray Fillet comes from.
Sure.
with like the rope or whatever. But then we like did a real one because I don't know. I just thought it was like because he's got a big V or whatever. I always kind of thought he was like a like you said, like kind of superhero-y. So
Yeah.
like I always thought of him. Like, I don't know if he has super strength or whatever, but like to me he does. And so like yeah, just use like a boat anchor on a rope to like beat people would be pretty cool. So like you just and that's where like my like I said when we first started, like that's where my appreciation and like recognition of like the Varner guys and all those people working on the original Playmates line, like just having fun because there is no limit. Like really, like, you can just do whatever. You're like, oh, I think it'd be cool if Ray Fillet like beat people to death with like a anchor on a rope. They're like, yeah, sure, go for it. And yeah, because I got kind of got to do the same thing, which
Sure.
is really fun. It was really cool. It was like a very expressive line to work on, and I'm very like grateful that I got to do any of it. So.
How about Wave 6? We got Ace Duck,
Oh
Scratch
yeah.
the Mauser. Anything to say about those?
Ace Duck was a lot of fun because I wanted to give him a Tommy gun, and so I got to give him a Tommy gun, and we
Right.
gave him the cigar from some of the early sketches of Ace Duck.
Yes, I didn't.
And
I never put that together, but yes, I forgot about that.
so you know what's funny is that I didn't put that together either. I just wanted to give him like a cigar, like a pilot, and then it was my friend Ethan over Speaky Geeky. He was like, "Did you do
Yeah.
this like from the sketches?" I was like, "No, no. It's just he looks cool with a cigar." He was like, "This looks exactly like the thing." So it was just like a happy accident.
Oh, nice.
He was all nerded out about that, but yeah, I actually really like the Ace Duck one as well because I think it's like that. Wave 6 is really loaded because obviously Slash is in it.
Sure.
Slash is super rad.
The first variant too with Super Surfer Mikey, like that. Oh no, no, I'm sorry. You did the Leo.
Second,
Forgive me.
second, yeah.
Yeah.
Surfer Mikey's rad too.
Yeah.
I had to recreate the sticker from the surfboard,
Okay.
like in Illustrator, which was fun. But then yeah, Ace Duck with like his Tommy gun and like I made like a swappable jacket because of like the wings or whatever. We were yeah that at that point we like hadn't really gotten hit with some of these like factory price increases yet. You
Okay.
can kind of tell like right around wave 7 is when it starts to like that's expensive and starts to slow down a little bit.
There's
So
a
that's
scratch in that line too.
scrap yeah, which was
Not like
that
a
was
like nobody got to have this as a kid. Let's give it
yeah.
to him now kind of thing.
hmm
Yeah.
Definitely it was like oh finally you can have a scratch because nobody has one.
Sure.
So, and he was fun. He's cool. I think in hindsight, if I could go back, I would make his ball and chain removable because we made it not removable, and it really like makes it cumbersome to work
Oh, okay.
with if you're posing the figure. But that's also like, I think at the time I was like, that's the joke, right? Is like it's a ball. It's like he's not having fun. Why should you have fun? I don't know. You should be able to take it off, but that was the idea, anyways.
But not the mouse. No, so your Mauser. I
Then
think
there's a Mauser pack, yeah.
that's the same. That's the same Mauser that's with Baxter, right?
It is, but there is I think it's either a new head and a leg or just a new head that's got the battle damage to it as well. So you get 2 battle damage Mausers and 3 regular Mausers.
So that toy brings something to mind. So the original, and I'm gonna, as somebody who loves the Playmates toys,
hmm
the original Mauser sucks. Suck. So like, was there any toys like that you're like, man, people like this toy is really crap. How do we make it super cool? Like, is there any toys that were that?
In Turtles?
Hmm.
Um yeah, what look at the title of the podcast. Why would you talk about any other toys? What am I saying? Um I don't know. I mean,
The original April toy is not a great toy. They made her better when they redid her head.
no, I agree. And that's we were trying to make the good
I actually
version
don't even like the
of
original Shredder. I think the original. I used the wacky wind up Shredder because I hated Shredder's crazy pose. The original Shredder.
yeah. Yeah, I think that there's some of that in a little bit of everything.
Sure.
Like the April, we tried to make a better April, but I think some of the like face printing fell short on
Okay.
that one. And like you talked about the shredder, like we put that additional head in that had the eyebrows painted on the
Sure.
top of the helmet. People were like, "What the hell is this?" Like you do like this looks like like garbage. Like, why are you doing it? It's like, dude, go look at the toy. It's
That's
what
the
it looked
toy.
like.
It makes no fucking sense.
We did the same thing with Bebop, where
Oh, the
he
pink
had
face.
the
Sure.
pink face, and they were like, "What?" And they were like, okay. And so we included like a non-pink face as well. And it's like, okay, people don't remember.
With the shredder eyebrow thing, it's like that. I respect the deep cut. I
Yeah,
will never intentionally make my toy. That's such a
no,
cool
I
cut
think
that.
I threw that head away. I don't think I even have it anymore. I think I guess what I'm trying to get at is that they're all kind of crappy, and so we try to improve them all. No, no, they're obviously we wouldn't be here
Oh,
without
but
them.
there are
But
certain things that are like
that's
that we
yeah,
call charm now. That is like, oh, like at least that Mauser is a
yeah,
shitty wind-up toy.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I, so to get cool Mauser toys, I didn't get them until uh,
Hmm.
the 2012 series or something. Maybe the
Yeah,
2012 series. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the ones that we have. I think I would have made them a little bit smaller if I could go back, but I think they're like a fun little desk totem as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, let's see here. Talking about waves. So what you said Wave 7 was a challenge because the cost cut down also, but Wave 7 you also have some enormous characters.
Wave 7 is the last one that didn't have the cut.
Oh, okay, because
The
you've got
cost increases.
Triceratops, Robotic Bebop, and Gorilla in there.
Wave 7 is kind of the swan song of like let's throw everything in there,
I
you
see.
know. So and that wave feels like, at least for me, the culmination of everything that I was like doing with the wave or with the line up until that point.
Okay,
Because there's so much stuff in there that is like me just adding stuff, having fun, doing, just making cool turtle stuff.
sure.
Like Gorilla, I realized that like people are like, oh, it's not Sergeant Bananas, but that it was like this whole weird licensing thing that we got into that I can't really like speak
Okay, I
to
was going to
too
ask you about it.
much. But it was really like, okay, like how do I salvage this drawing that I have and turn it into a character that we can use? And
Hmm,
that's where Gorilla shows up because he's in the comics and it's like all this, and it's like that's what his original name was. Like it's even on the like name tag, right? And so yeah, we just like we went wild. Like I got to go wild, and it was like, if you can believe it, I had even more stuff in that figure. I had Larry the lemur as like his little buddy or
sure.
whatever, and he was gonna like load like a coconut mortar as well, and
I love it.
you could like take Larry's head off and put him in the cannon, so you could like shoot Larry. Um, it was gonna be cool. It got, if you could believe it, we cut it because it got too expensive. So,
Now,
but
was
and then
that
you look
also?
at the pack out on Gorilla, and it's just insane. He's got, and I don't know if you do you have him?
I do not. Forgive me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is only going to be for you because you're the only one who can see me. But like he's ginormous.
Yes.
Like this is his hands are basically like the size of a real toddler's hands. And he comes with 10 of them
Amazing.
in the box. And like this is the knife that he comes with. Like that's it basically looks like a knife that I could wield
Yeah, it's
myself.
a legit knife. Yes.
So, yeah,
Is
we
this
just
knife
went
bigger than
nuts.
Leonardo's swords?
You know, they might be.
Now, he's the first character.
They're almost the same length. Leo's a
That's
little bit
hilarious.
longer. That's a good. No one's ever asked me that before. That's funny.
He's probably the first character who probably seemed less inspired by the Playmates toy. Was that due to the licensing issue?
It was, but at
Okay.
the same time, like I used the same kind of place and source of inspiration that I used when I was working on the rest of the line
Hmm.
to give him all the stuff that he had. I went nuts with like the puns and just the stuff he can, like he's got, this banandolier on his back,
It's amazing.
apiators, apiator sunglasses. his monkey machine gun, like just all this kind of stupid
Funny
stuff that
stuff.
was
Yeah.
super fun. Yeah,
Yeah. I
exactly.
love that stuff. Yeah.
Um, but it was cool, and it was like it felt like I realize he's not from the Playmates line, but like, for me, it was like a cool personal moment of like, oh, this character's never had a toy before. He's in the canon, but he's not really like super well known or whatever. And like when I was looking for reference, inspiration, like, he's got one page at the time, he had like one page of Google that you could like look up or whatever.
Think he's only in a magazine or
Yeah,
something.
he's only in one magazine from
Yeah.
like 1991 or something like that. And now you type in Gorilla Gorilla and it's like my figure everywhere, which is pretty cool, you know?
Sure.
So I realize and this sort of feels like the Kyle show, but I also
No, I mean that's the whole
I
point.
will take a brief moment to pause and say that, nobody does this alone. I work for a company who is very cool. They pay for the licensing, they do all this stuff. There's tons of people behind the scenes who don't, get credit, don't get to, do all like be the face or whatever or the voice I guess on this one of what's happening here. And I only have the privilege of talking to you because you and I have mutual friends and mutual shared interests, but it takes hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of work and hundreds of jobs to make any action figure that you have. So let's take a moment to appreciate those unsung heroes. And
Absolutely, please. Yeah.
all right, and now back to Kyle. No, I'm
That's
just
good.
kidding.
That is
But
also the line where you started with the music turtles. Why were they a
yeah.
priority?
I think they're a priority because our CEO Brian Flynn is a huge punk rock fan. He loves punk, loves all that stuff, like and like deep punk or whatever. And so he saw that there was a punk rock Donatello and was like, well, "We got to start there."
Sure.
For no other reason, really. So, and that's part of like when you work on these like lines, like yes, you have to answer to, oh, I think sales can do this and this is demand. It's like, but also like if you can't make the thing that you want to make with your own toy company, like why are you doing it? So
I mean, the waves you zeroed in on. I mean, I guess
yeah,
the only one that's not part of that is the basketball Donnie, which people love too. But I mean,
yeah,
to me, the waves that you zeroed in on are two of the like. It's the first wave of variants,
yep,
right? The Sewer Surfer, the Samurai Sewer, Super Samurai, whatever. Like,
hmm,
and the music ones. Like to me, like they've got to be within the first two or three that come to mind as far as the variants go from that line.
oh, easily, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think anybody's talking about the farm turtles or the caveman turtles
I
as
love
nearly as I do too, but not nearly as
No,
much
I know.
as
It really is like because I mean,
Undercover
yeah, the
Don or
villainous
whatever. Yeah,
designs they kind of went all out with the paint. They're really
yeah.
the right ones to choose. It really were.
Hmm, hmm. Well, I think it helps that we also have a reaction line that I worked on as well, and we did a wave of the undercover turtles and that did really well. And we're like, oh,
Mm,
we should probably put these into Ultimates
sure.
as well. So,
Let's see here. Going to wave eight.
hmm,
Um, Genghis Frog, Robotic Rocksteady, Space Cadet Raph, and another Shredder because the Shredder repaint. Anything to say about
hmm.
that line?
I didn't work on the shredder repaint. There was like another guy who worked on the line briefly who did some of the repaints on the side.
Sure.
So that's fine. He also did the warrior metalhead Michelangelo from Seven as well. So his name was Mondo. He took a lot of those repaints on,
Nice.
which was fine because it was he was a turtle guy too, and it was like he was very passionate about those. So it was cool to let him kind of go wild. Not like I made that decision, but you know what I mean. But yeah, Wave 8 was cool because we got to like, at least for me, like I did all the design work on Robo Bebop and Seven, and then Rocksteady. It was like, okay, like what's the counterpart things? Because like I have those toys, and I love those things. Like they're the chrome vac
Yeah,
metal
they're cool.
ones. They're super cool with like the light piping and stuff. And so it was just fun to try and think of like cool robot stuff to put in there, you know.
Also, gigantic toys. I've seen them like in
Yeah,
person.
they're here.
So
Well,
big.
they're the sizes. They're a little bit bigger than their fleshy counterparts because you're gonna
Yeah, you
make
would
them
make them
robots. You
smaller.
gotta upgrade
Yeah.
them, right? Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, he was cool. I love Space Cadet Raph. Like that one was probably a highlight of that wave for me. Because you get to just make some fun little tweaks, like, take the alien that's always on his butt and make it a little buddy that's
Yeah,
separate. Give him lightsaber size. Give him, I got to make a turtle stormtrooper helmet that you can't actually legally call it that, but that's exactly what that head is.
yeah.
And then the other thing that was always like a fun, it's like it's subtle, and I'm not sure people even pay attention to it that much, but every turtle comes with some kind of slice of pizza, and they're all a little bit different.
Okay.
So like uh Samurai Leo has just like straight up like a full fish on his. I think Sewer Mikey's got something. I don't remember. Uh but then like Punker Don doesn't have one. That's a miss. But Space Cadet Raph has like astronaut pizza with like a
Yeah.
zipper on it, which I thought was like so cool. Uh Tooting my own horn here. But then like was in we're getting ahead of ourselves, but like wave 10,
Huh.
classic rocker Leo has blue oyster pizza, which I'm not sure anybody clocked that.
That's great.
So I was trying to like, I don't know. Anytime there's pizza, I always try and like figure out something new and innovative to add to it. So, anyways.
Uh, let's see here. Going to 9.
Hmm.
Why choose Slam Dunk and Don? Like, were you thinking of doing the other sports? What was the process behind that?
I think it was also another instance where somebody on staff was like, "Yo, I really like slam dunking dunk. Can we get to that one?" We're like, yeah, why not? Sure.
Sure.
So our photographer, our staff photographer, a guy named Johnny, goes by Sergeant Bananas online. Very prolific and insanely talented toy photographer. Biggest turtle fan I know. Huge turtle sleeve on his left arm. Uh, yeah, his thing was like, can we get Slam Dunk and Don? I was like, yeah, we could probably do that.
I
So
mean,
we
that's
did.
when Michael Jordan was everything. So I mean, like, it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They even
Yeah,
made I mean, that was a big one on the line too, because they made
the
not
giant
only
version.
they made a
Hmm.
giant version, they made a variant. I mean,
Hmm.
no other, very few toys got variants from that line.
Yeah.
Like that was
Well,
a
and
big.
that was part of the decision to go with the variant as well, because like like everybody had the red one, but like not
Mhm.
a ton of people had the white one either. And it helped us skirt around some licensing things too. So it
Oh,
was
interesting.
a
Sure.
win for everybody.
Yeah. Anything to say about anybody else in that line? It also had Scumbug, Wingnut, and Screw Loose. I know you're saying the
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So Scumbug was done by the guy who did the variants, Mondo. It was a super fun one. Um, yeah, so I think the most fun I had on that wave though was Donnie and Wingnut and Screw Loose. Because Wingnut and Screw Loose was actually originally part of wave 8, and then there was some shuffling or whatever, so I got to do Wingnut and Screw Loose, and then it went into 9. But yeah, like the the Donnie was fun because there's like that core figure, but then like how do you like add those accessories? So he's got the shield from half court, and then like the basket from the original one, and then like we gave him a longer bow staff because I remember a lot of people complained that wave 4 original Donnie's bow staff was too short, even though that's what it was like in the toy.
Right.
Uh,
You remember how? Yeah, how you remember it, not how it was.
so
Sure.
we made it longer, and freely admit that's the one that I use in my display now. But that also lent itself to, okay, now you can build a hoop
Sure.
with him, which is I thought was such a like
It's very
cool
smart.
thing to do. Again, tooting my own horn. But then yeah, Wingnut and Screw Loose are probably my favorite in that wave because I'm an insanely huge Batman fan. Like Batman's part of the reason I, do what I do. Because who didn't love animated series, who didn't read the
Oh yeah.
comics, all that stuff. So, getting to do him and so I gave him the like alternate whited out eyes, serious, brooding head, the cape, the grapple gun, all that stuff. Like it was super rad. And then there's one of the renders we did for solicitation to like sell the figure was the like Batman and Robin in the spotlight image. And I sent that to our render team. I was like, do this, but with Wingnut and Screw Loose, and they're like, all right, cool. And they nailed it. It looks so good. That's still one of my favorite, like, probably solicitation images we've ever done. I think because it looks incredible. Like if I didn't have a girlfriend or a dog or whatever, I would make that my like phone wallpaper. So
That what's cool about that, I feel like that toy too is like especially one of those ones that's like super kind of like that gross, ugly Playmates
yeah,
aesthetic. Like the metal wings that are atop the
the
flesh.
little gross little
Yeah,
baby
like he's
wings. Yeah,
fat and ugly. He's got all these wrinkles. He's such a great
yeah.
like it's one of those ones that just they went all out for in the same way like a Muckman did.
hmm Well, that was the thing is that a lot of people after Muckman came out, when anybody was trying to sell somebody new on the line, they were like, "Look at the Muckman, go buy a Muckman." Like Muckman is like the gold standard of like what this line can be, and
That's the first toy
I
I got. No,
yeah,
maybe it was Baxter, but that was like maybe the first or second.
and I agree with that for the most part until Wingnut and Screw Loose came out.
Hmm.
And something about Wingnut was just like, okay, this is now the toy that the rest of the line will be judged upon.
Hmm.
And I still stand by that. I still think that's one of the best ones that we've done. So,
Moving on to the next line. That's Casey Jones, classic rocker Leo, Karai, and Ninja April. Can we talk about Karai and
mhm.
Ninja April? Where those decisions come from?
Sure.
Classic
Well, I
line.
think originally we had Rat King in there, and then we shifted some stuff around again because sometimes it happens. There's even like a leaked image where like Rat King was part of the like lineup, and we had to like take it away.
Hmm.
But like part of it was we wanted to do Ninja Newscaster April, but there was some like pushback on licensing, and so we kind of had to make our own thing.
Okay.
And that's where some of the cost stuff starts coming in to play as well. And so Karai and Ninja April are basically the same body, but their heads and like forearms and torsos are different, but like all their legs and all that other stuff are the same, and they have a lot of the same accessories or whatever. And it was kind of like, sometimes when costs come in, you kind of get forced to sort of design with one arm tied behind your back, and that's one of those examples. But I'm actually pretty proud of that wave. All things considered, it's like a turtles wave that's mostly humans,
Oh
which
yeah, sure.
kind of hard to make compelling, but I think it worked. So Karai is just like we were also like, okay, well, we haven't had any new Foot Clan members in a long time. Like, what can we do? And I was like, we got to do like
Well,
Karai
I mean,
because I remember 2003.
yeah,
So
Karai. I mean, like, and also too, there's such a deficit of female characters in that original toy line.
absolutely,
Like, it's
yeah.
just, but my daughter, she's 10 years old. She's turtles obsessed, but she's like,
Where are
there's
the
no
girls?
girls
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's a guy who used to work with us as well, named Augie, and he's a huge Turtles fan, loves toys. Like he has forgotten more about toys than I will ever remember. Amazing dude, and he was like, "Oh, we should do Karai. We should make her look like Tournament of Fighters, like all that stuff." And like he really advocated for her, and I like freely admit that I was like not the most sold on it. And then like he showed me images, and I was like, "All right, I'll draw a Karai." And I drew it up, and I was like, "Okay, I think I sold myself on it because this is actually pretty cool." So, because we got to have like fun with it. Like she's got the like soft good scarf, she's got the like the foot soldier
Yep,
head. I actually I really like those head sculpts too with her like hair, and there's like a subtle blue wash in it as well that's like very comic booky and that kind of stuff. And then like Ninja April, the idea was like, this feels like a Playmates figure that like never dropped, like it
for sure.
never got added. So because she's got all the same weapons as the boys, but they're yellow to match her outfit. And then some of her her like headband head, and she's got a little like COVID mask and all that stuff. I don't know. It was just fun, and it was again just coming from that same place of Playmates imaginary fun that I was doing with like, and she's technically the first figure to have microphone nunchucks in the line, uh, which would get a sequel in the next wave.
Sure. Speaking of the next wave, that was Foot Soldier, the battle damaged one, Ninja Nomad Leo, Rapper Mike, and Rat King. So before
Yeah,
we got to Rat King, let's talk about Rat King because I know
sure.
you were briefly on getting death threats over Rat King, right?
Only one or two, so it wasn't that big a deal, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean,
What was the reason for it? I'm just curious. Like, so what I'm talking
sure.
about is like there was a different head that was originally with it.
Yeah. Well, originally the first version of it was he was a little bit cleaner. He wasn't exactly uh a Playmates copy, and I think that didn't really connect with people. Whereas I took a lot of inspiration from kind of what he looked like in the cartoon. Like he's pretty clean looking in the cartoon,
Yeah,
but then I gave him like longer hair and stuff, sort of like how he looks in because at around that time is when Shredder's Revenge had come out, or they started showing stuff for Shredder's Revenge, the video
okay,
game, and he's kind of got this like wiry frame and like longer hair in that game, and I thought that was cool.
sure.
Because like he's got like a high and tight in the cartoon, and I always thought that was weird. Like, who has a barber down there?
Yes, he's
And so,
horrendously dressed and everything.
yeah,
But
I know. And
perfect
so,
head.
and that's okay. Like it didn't connect with people. That's fine. And clearly we listened and we went back and like redid it. I had my favorite comments though are like, whoever did that should be shot and that kind of thing. Because it still happens like on new comments, which is cool. Even though like jokes on you, same guy did both of them. Uh, so
Was the
uh,
intention to move away from Playmates a little bit, or were you just did it just like you didn't seem like you were moving that far away?
to us, it didn't feel like it was that far away.
Got it.
I know that people wanted him to, look like the leper that the toy was or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
which is fine and that's okay. But I don't know. We tried something, didn't work, and then we pivoted back. And I'm happy to say that we went back, changed it to make it as like here's the like here's the face with the nose falling off and no teeth that you wanted. But
Sure.
we also included the now affectionately deemed, sexy Rat King head in there too. So, and that never sat right with me. I was like, dude, he is not sexy like at all. Like he's really gross. I don't understand. Like, why are you guys saying that? Like, it makes no sense to me. He's so gross. But then like a year after that or whatever, because this was like 2 or 3 years ago now, I think. A year or so after all of that sexy Rat King death threat stuff happened, is when the trend, I guess there was like a trend of like get yourself a rat boyfriend or whatever, where
Oh, I don't
like
know
they
that.
think
Okay.
like ratty dudes were like hot, basically like apparently like dudes who look like Timothy Chalamet who are not super bulky strong with beards or whatever. They're kind of like they got like little rat faces. Like apparently that was like a sexy trend for girls at one point, and
Got it.
so
Okay.
somebody commented just like, whoa, Super 7 was like ahead of the trends with fucking sexy rat king. So
Now to get to the end of it, I mean, the is that the end of the line? And what about character? What can you say about characters like uh, Heavy Metal Raph or
yeah.
Disguised Don, the ones that people feel like are missing from the line?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that looks like anymore.
Okay.
I for as from what I've been told, like there's, I'm not sure that we can't do more of that, but we decided to try and pivot into the 2003 stuff, which as we illustrated earlier in this talk is like really where I
Yeah.
live, is really where my entry point into this world was. And I'm happy to say that that's really worked out because I don't think there were as many people on staff who believed in that as much as I did.
Sure.
Because I had kind of been shouting that for a while. We should try 2003, and luckily it worked. But so right now it feels like we kind of have some good steam with this 2003 thing. We're going to see where that goes.
Sure.
Um, but I think there's definitely a world where we could theoretically go back and go back to Playmate stuff. I think for now it's paused, but I don't think it's a no forever. But that's just based on the information that I have. So that said, though, I do have a drawing for Heavy Metal Raft because anybody, look at my shirt. Like I Heavy Metal Raft is like one of my favorite like versions of Music Turtles, and it was, believe it or not, it was the first one that I drew, and I've had it and it's been ready forever and just been waiting. So I'd like to get to it eventually, especially Undercover Dawn as well. Again, we talked about it. Dawn's one of my favorites. I think if we had if we had one more to do, one more wave of Playmate stuff to do, I think there'd be a wave that would really, I think would really knock people on their ass. I think they'd be stoked with what we could do with that lineup. But we'll see if we get to it. Right
Sure.
now this 2003 thing is going really well. Um, so we're gonna ride that out, especially with how kind of turbulent and tumultuous this whole industry is right now.
Sure.
All this tariff nonsense and whatever. Like you kind of got to follow what's working, and 2003 is what's working for now. I know that that disappoints some people, but again, I don't. It's not no. It's just not right now.
Cool.
So
That's what I wanted to ask you about the turtle van from the line.
yeah,
It's an epic release. Can we talk about what went into that?
a lot. There's a few iterations because 4-H did some lead work on it, and a guy named I think Joe Amaro worked on some of that stuff too. And then we got some files, but then we had to basically resculpt, re-engineer the whole thing because it wasn't gonna be correctly manufacturable and stuff. Like the design was there, so like they did like the basic like van shape and stuff, but then
Okay.
like we had a guy named David White. He still works with us. He did all of the like engineering, making sure the doors shut, double walling it, like how it's all that stuff, and it just took forever. So he's like the like real grandfather of the van there. He's like the one who made sure it worked. But we got kind of these files, but then David has to redo those files anyways. So like, okay, like what flourishes can we add? We're not gonna like change the whole shape of the whole van because that's too much. Like we're not starting from scratch, but like what sort of embellishments can we add? And that's sort of where I got to come in. So I have like a whole document where I was like pitching stuff that could work or could not work. So I did like the pizza treads that are on the tires. I did the pizza spinning rims
Yes.
as well. Similar to how the characters at the time had the weapon racks, I made like a tool rack. And so that's where like the toolkit came from, where it's got like the box, the like mallet, the two wrenches, the like both types of screwdrivers, all that stuff, and then like the headgear for all the turtles. The accessories were really fun because I called my friend who's a mechanic who can like fix any kind of car, and I said,
Okay.
okay, like if you have like one kit like that's got let's say 10 tools in it and you bring like if you needed to fix any car with you at any time, what 10 tools would you always bring with you? And he was like, dead blow mallet, settling torch, these wrenches, blah 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 blah. And so I just wrote all that down, and that's what comes with the van is
I
all of
love
his
the
like
fact that it came with the
expertise stuff.
accessories that you want for Donnie, right? Like,
So that's the other thing that I feel really bad about, but not that bad about, is that I basically kind of thought of the van as a big accessory for Donnie.
of course, that's exactly what it is.
And so that's like because he said he told me the torch was like, oh, like there's a welding mask like that you
Yes.
should totally, and like Donnie should totally be able to wear that. And so like I had like from the beginning I had like a shot in my mind that was hoping people would do where like the back of it is open and he's got like the mask on and he's like holding it and he's like blowtorching like that's like what I want. That's like how I want to display it. That's like what I want to do with my turtle van. And I'm glad that like that stuff made it. Like, because there was a bunch of other stuff that we did. Some of it made it, some of it didn't. Like the tow hook or whatever, like all of that I added on.
Hmm.
But then like I had a modified version of the pizza launcher that would go on top and shoot pizzas, but that got changed into like the pizza rims.
Sure.
I was gonna, because it comes with the tow hook, I was gonna give it 4 skateboards in the appropriate colors for each brother. Because you like street ski or whatever on your
Yeah.
skateboard. But there's kind of an unspoken rule, like to never make little tiny skateboards at Super 7. Flynn doesn't like them. That's okay. So we those got axed. But that's all right. So I mean, there's like a lot of like stuff that's in there that like you throw a lot of stuff at the wall to like get the stuff that works, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I did all of these like very serious tools for like an actual mechanic, but then Flynn has his insights. He was like, oh well, we gotta like add something like kind of wacky because it's turtles, and so that's like where the plunger comes in,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
It's cool though to have like I mean, I don't know about you. The accessories I get most excited about for toys
yeah.
are the normal shit. Like
Hmm.
I have a million size, a million guns. Like
Yeah.
I like it when it comes with like a random piece of food or a plunger or like
Or a wrench or something like a
yeah,
screwdriver. Like
I
yeah.
love those. Yeah.
I think though my favorite accessory that it comes with and that I ever made is the roadkill
It's
mouser
pretty great. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
because it actually fits underneath like the tire fits on top of it. And
Amazing.
if you look at it, the like treads are like imprinted into this thing,
That's
and
great.
it's articulated with the little jaw. I think this one was the most fun, and I think it came out really, really cool. Looks the best. It's like very unique. Like you've never gotten like a squished
No, yeah.
mouser like this.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was funny because I'm putting him on blast again, but Trevor was like, we were at like Toy Fair or whatever, or maybe Comic-Con, I don't remember, but he like came to the booth and was like, "Oh man, like the Turtle Van looks so good." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." He goes, "Man, that roadkill mouser, like it doesn't happen that often, but that's like one of those things where I was like, damn, I wish I thought of that." So that was like the biggest compliment I've ever gotten in my whole career, and that was
Sure.
from Trevor. So sorry, he probably didn't want me to say that, but that's okay. I love you, Trevor. Thank
I
you.
mean the glass. I love the fact that it comes with sunglasses,
Oh
like
yeah, so it was. I
welding them
had to
out.
figure out what to do with the other 4 brothers. I was like, yeah, all right, Donnie comes with a welding mask, and then
Oh, I see.
Flynn
Sure.
Flynn was like, "Oh, we should probably give the other brothers something." I was like, "Ugh, if I have to, I guess." So it was just figuring that out. So like, there's like the old style motorcycle helmet, but it looks like a turtle shell for Raph, and then like the
Yep.
pilot goggles for Leo and the sunglasses for Mikey. But they work on all of them. We made sure that you
Oh,
could put it on any of them. But that's who it was like intended for.
oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah.
And like you kind of, I mean, I don't know. The original Turtle Man was like, and I love the original, of course.
Hmm.
It's very like compared to the toy, like the sculpts of the characters.
Yeah.
It's very simple, flat, not very detailed. So I think
What's
like
one shell? It's just one like
yeah.
vertical mold.
So like I think
So
like
it's very simple.
yeah, to go kind of like and kind of you almost like it felt like you brought more of the aesthetic of the line into the vehicle than even the original did.
I mean, that's a very nice way to put it. That's a good compliment. But that was always sort of the plan, was to try and elevate it to
Yeah.
where the Ultimates were at that point. Like where if you look inside, there's like control panels. There's like a phone and like an alarm, and there's a NES in there that nobody like really ever notices, I feel like. And there's a little mini screen on there, and the channel says like 84. There's like pizza all over. There's like gross, just dirt on the like steel, like the steel diamond plates on the inside, and little
It
ooze
feels good.
canister
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So, and then like we had a lot of fun doing the like odometer and like control panel. There's like a funometer. There's like a NOS gauge, stuff like that. So,
I even love like the details of like the steel flooring and things like that. Just like real
hmm.
things you didn't need, but man, we're happy it's there, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think it makes it feel a little bit more substantial.
Yeah,
And especially on the bottom too. There's like a whole like steel paneling and stuff underneath it. And then like like just like the original one, you can see the back engine and stuff. And there's so a lot of that sculpt is taken from that sticker that's on the back of the vintage one.
yeah.
That kind of stuff. So, and I know that some people were upset about not having the exact vintage stickers on the van, but at the same time, like we felt like you already have those. This is like an updated van. We should probably, make something new out of it. And you still have your like stink bombs or your laughing gas or whatever for the bombs that roll out. Um, but we felt it was important to kind of like add something new to it. And besides, if we had just done it, then what would all those customizers do? They'd be out of a job. So,
Exactly. Okay,
but it was a lot of fun. It's like one of the main vehicles I'm like the most proud of because I worked on the Thunder Tank, I worked on Snake Mountain, I worked on Cat Slayer, but like the Turtle Van feels like I don't know, like the most cohesive, the most fun, the most thing I'm the most proud of. So
I love the duct tape on the seats, that kind of stuff. It feels like I said, it feels like it's really in use, like
that was yeah. I had suggested that. I was like, because they probably are just like taking old bus seats from like school buses that break down and get parked
right.
in,
Yeah,
MTA transit stations that are, get built on top of in the sewers. And I don't know. I did a lot of thinking to explain why we should duct tape the seats, and nobody questioned it. They're like, yeah, duct tape the seats. That'd be awesome. So I had all this lore I didn't get to like tell anybody. So that's what this podcast is for.
exactly. Okay, so Kyle, I got one more question for you, and I ask this of
Yeah.
everybody: is who's your favorite turtle and why?
Donatello, no question. I think personally, I think he's the most emotionally, he's the most intelligent, both, book smarts and emotionally as well. And the other thing is like everything cool that the turtles have comes from Donnie.
Yeah,
The sewer layer built by Donnie, the party wagon built by Donnie, the blimp built by Donnie, the communicators built by Donnie, the Dimension X portal built by Donnie.
yeah.
Everything that the turtles have that is, remotely close to anything you could call a modern convenience comes from Donatello.
No matter how impossible, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, it was always, and also I don't know, bow staff. I think it was, he's got the cool, the best weapon for range when you play video games.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think
especially that first
I
one.
think that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Donatello, and
Okay,
plus
Kyle.
purple's my girlfriend's favorite color too.
Okay,
So
there you go. Kyle, I just so people know, we're gonna have you back to talk just 2003 Turtles. Thank you for being here, and
of course,
I can't wait to have you back.
cool, man. Thanks so much. We'll
Take
talk
care.
soon. Later.